at some point you're going to need a spiritual guide. So if we worship God, if we pray to God, just in general, and we don't have an image, and we don't have a particular name, we just refer to God as God and worship God, just the vague term God. It's hard to appeal to the highest and get a very personal response or an effective initiation of what we want in our lives to happen, because we're appealing to something so vast, so open-ended, so big, that the power of that thing isn't necessarily, we're not focusing on a piece of its power and concentrating what aid we want from God, from that piece of God's power, and appealing to a more minute section of it. We're appealing to everything. So if we're appealing to everything, we're appealing to God as a whole, we might want to consider reaching out to, if you're Christian or Muslim, or you just believe you're just monotheistic in general of any kind, then you might want to think about communicating with angels, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and the like, or angels that are underneath them. You might need to find books on communicating with angels or various beings that are intermediaries. In Vodou, Papa Legba, Bondier is God, is the vastness that is God. But there are lower beings like Papa Legba or Baron Samedi or Elysia Danto, or others in between spirits that we can appeal to, so that we can kind of reach out to the vastness that is God through a certain section of its power and a certain identity, which is more minute than the huge vastness that's formless. And if you're not Christian, and I think most people that watch my channel are not Christian, then find a god or a goddess or a spirit or a Jotun, whatever you want to reach out to. Find something in between. Just find something that you want to guide you. We all might worship different gods and goddesses. We might be attracted to this kind of magic, or this kind of occult, or this kind of mysticism, or this kind of religion or section of spirituality. But we might not have a god or a goddess or a spirit that we feel close enough to really ask for the things that we want in our life, or that we can seek guidance from. There are plenty of practitioners who watch my channel who are just left-hand pathers and just work with or almost exclusively work with demons. There are guides among demons that can guide you along the way and offer you assistance when you need a spiritual guide. So it doesn't really matter what kind of spirituality you have. There's something to reach out to, but you need something to reach out to. You need something to form a very personal and close relationship with and consistently ask guidance from. Because think about it, when you ask somebody in your life, like a human being in your life, for guidance, it might start out pretty vague, but as you talk to this person more and more, you get more and more specific advice, and you delve deeper into the reservoir of knowledge that they have within themselves, and drink deeper of that knowledge. And as you develop a relationship with this person, as you're consistently guided by this person, you get better and better guidance. You get more and more specific guidance, and you see the results of the guidance that you receive. The same is true with gods and spirits, and receiving guidance from gods and spirits, or other beings, daemons even, fairies, anything. You'll naturally be drawn to a certain kind of spirituality, or certain kinds of gods, certain kinds of goddesses. I'm very much drawn towards the Divine Mother Kali and Shiva, mainly the Divine Mother Kali, but I'm also drawn towards Odin. I feel my connection to Odin on a more ancestral level, because I have so much Scandinavian in me. But my connection to Kali and Shiva is it's bigger. It's almost like I feel like my soul has been guided by Kali and Shiva throughout the years I've been alive, but also in other lifetimes. I feel like I've lived also as somebody with Norse in them in other lifetimes, but I feel like Kali and Shiva are more ingrained to my nature, more tied to my nature, and more tied to my soul than a god like Odin. Now, Odin, I might ask for advice or assistance in strength and being strong, but I also ask for strength from the Divine Mother Kali. With Odin, if I'm using a particular kind of divination tactic, like the Elder Futhark runes that I draw from, and that I also use in magic, I might say a prayer to Odin, or say, Odin, guide my hand, or Odin, give me wisdom. But see, his purview is wisdom. His purview is divination. His purview is delving within the self and magical power at the same time. The Divine Mother Kali, she's so big that it's hard to say that she's even a particular form of God, like a mask, because it feels like she's behind all the masks for me. But that's just my own personal preference, my own personal understanding, my own personal path. She feels as vast as Bandier for people that practice Vodou. So if you're looking for something like specific, now I'll always call out to the Divine Mother Kali and Ganesha. Before I meditate, I'll often say, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. So that's a little mantra towards Ganesh, and it's just so that he officiates, he allows me to meditate better. Even if I'm meditating before the Divine Mother, or as an offering to the Divine Mother, I might call upon Ganesh to remove the obstacles to my meditation. And God knows there's a lot of obstacles in meditation, especially if you fall off your practice, or you're not consistent, or you don't have techniques that you use. You definitely need breathing technique. You need probably a mantra technique. I use both those in meditation. But I know where the doorways are and who controls the doorways. Those obstacles that get in my way of meditation are what Ganesh can remove. He's also the god of students, removing obstacles, as I said, and all kinds of intellectual pursuits. Very much feels like the son of the Divine Mother Kali, because she is this great creatrix and preserver and destroyer as well, but very much a creation. She is creationary. She is all three of the functions of God, and that's really why she feels so big for me. The Divine Mother Kali feels so big. Of course, I'm a Shakta, so I'll be biased, but there's really not anything that I couldn't call upon Kali for. But if I want something very specific in regards to magic or divination, like I said, I might call on Odin. He feels a little bit closer. And once you work with spirits, gods, and various beings, you'll slowly develop this ability to feel how close they are and how big something is. If you want to build a house, you don't just say, I'm building a house on this mountain. You have to find a particular site. You have to buy that site. You have to get all the materials. You have to plant. You have to have a blueprint, lay everything out correctly, and build it in a proper process. That's very much how you develop a relationship with a spirit or a god or a goddess. If you're referring to just God as the mountain, you're not going to be able to find somewhere to really start, or something to use, or a place that your heart and your will can call home that is an individualized god or goddess. And even though the Divine Mother Kali is that goddess for me, you see, like I said, she just feels so big that sometimes it feels like she's too far away. She is like that mountain, and sometimes I feel like I can't find a site on that mountain because it's just, I'm taking in the whole thing all at once, and it's overwhelming. Not usually, but every now and then she feels that big. I might call upon Swami Sri Yukteswar, or Babaji, or Paramahansa Yogananda, and these are all enlightened masters and sages, self-realized masters who've reached moksha, liberation. I might call upon them if I feel like I need a human image to call upon, and one that was alive and understood human life and was here, and it almost feels closer to our existence than Kali. I might call upon a sage that I know is kind of below Kali, like Paramahansa Yogananda, like I said, Lahiri Moshai, Swami Sri Yukteswar. Babaji is a Maha Avatar. He's the one in that picture frame over there. So he's still here. He's just not very, doesn't make his presence known. But I could call upon Babaji, and I do call upon Babaji when I want peace, When I want peace just very quickly and in a moment, and I don't want to have to wait for it, I'll just repeat Om Babaji, Om Babaji, Om Babaji, Om Babaji, Om Babaji. And that's supposed to give a blessing of instant peace. In a similar way that I call upon Ganesh when I just want to get rid of some obstacle. And if I want to call upon some kind of a force to give me stability and to give me perhaps a little bit of control, self-control, and a little bit of bravery, I'll say Shri Yukteswar, Shri Yukteswar, Shri Yukteswar, Om Shri Yukteswar, Om Shri Yukteswar, Om Shri Yukteswar. And he was known for being he's Paramahansa Yogananda's master. He was known for being very self-collected, very self-disciplined, very powerful in will. So if I'm trying to increase my own will or focus my will, I'll call upon Sri Yukteswar. I'll just say his name again and again and again. And names repeated mentally or verbally are very much tied to an individual and their place in existence. And if that individual helped existence, it could even be a historical figure that you call upon, but if that individual helped existence and somebody that you look up to, and usually a spiritual person of some kind, then that relationship that they had to existence, to all that is, will be maintained in some more subtle psychic form that you can call upon, even if they're not alive and here right now. And even if they're a different person on a different planet in a completely different dimension or universe, there is some residual psychic presence and personhood of that person and their relationship they had to this existence. So I can call upon somebody who's dead, and it'll be touching that underlying current, that underlying kind of subconscious of man that we are all a part of. And we all kind of affect by what we do in this world, how we treat others, and what we cared about during life. It's good to figure out if you're caring about the right things, and that's something that you would reach out to a spirit guide for, or god or goddess, or I use the term spirit guide to refer to basically any being that you're seeking guidance from, or you consider as a guide or a teacher. If you make sure to ask pretty regularly that if you're caring about the right things. Are you wasting your time worrying about frivolous things or things that don't matter, or things that are really small but become so big to you that they're overwhelming, they kind of eclipse everything else? We only have a certain amount of time on this planet. We only have a very limited amount of time. And you might need a little bit of guidance from a spirit guide on if you're caring about the right things or if you're going about life in the right way. Because we often fall, and sometimes our falls they kind of blur our vision, blur our understanding of our path and what our path looks like, because we fell, and we're so close to that, where we fell and why we fell. We're so close to it and how we're experiencing it emotionally that sometimes we don't get up fast enough. We don't bring ourselves back fast enough. And sometimes we don't never get back up at all, and we're just crawling from that moment of defeat or failure, and we're just crawling forward. Sometimes we might not be self-aware of that. And a spirit guide can help. This is something that you would reach out to a spirit guide for. Am I caring about the right things? What are my strengths and weaknesses? And how can I more effectively live with the limited amount of time that I have? It's good to ask human beings this as well, and just friends and family. You'd be surprised about the perspective that you get. Now, if you're asking a spirit guide for guidance, and you're not really sure how to go about it, you could always free write. This usually requires meditation where you clear your mind, and then you have a pen and paper in front of you, and you ask a question, and you have your mind cleared. You ask a question verbally, you have your mind cleared, kind of directed towards your spirit guide, and then write the answer that comes in your head. If there's a whole bunch of answers and there's a whole bunch of thoughts that you're having, and your thought and mind isn't properly cleared, then it's not going to be as effective. But if you can clear your mind, if you can be a receptacle for any wisdom that's going to come your way, then it's very effective to just free write. It's also effective to use various divination techniques, like tarot or reading cards, or runes, or reading bones. Divination techniques are a way that our spirit guides can teach us and communicate with us as well. But free writing it's the simplest, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's the easiest, because sometimes we can't quiet our minds, or we're not good at it. So we end up just talking to ourselves, which is also okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Another way that our spirit guides can communicate with us is through bibliomancy. If you have a certain amount of spiritual books and you ask a question and you open up to a random page in one book after another, and you go to a random paragraph, random sentence, and you get one sentence from each book, having posed this question to your spirit guide, and then you write down the sentences in the order that you saw them or you read them, that can also be a remarkable way for your spirit guides to communicate with you. It's not going to be easy for you to figure out exactly how you want to communicate or how they communicate with you the best or the quickest and the best, especially if you're just starting out. But a lot of people who watch this channel are not just starting out, and this is kind of old territory for y'all. But don't forget to reach out to higher beings or beings that are more subtle than us. Reach out to them often, because we need guidance and we need another perspective on this crazy thing that we call human life, that we kind of get stuck in, and we fall in, we fail. But while we're here, we can keep on trying, and we have to keep trying. We might as well use the time that we have here to the best of our ability, and for that, guidance is invaluable. At any rate, this has been a bit of a rant about spirit guides and the need for guidance. If you like this video, I'll hit that thumbs up down there. It really helps out the channel. Feel free to leave a comment. I love hearing from you guys, and feel free to share this wherever you like. At any rate, Jai Ma, and hope all of you have a wonderful day.